Hello, my name is Tanner Lichfield. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the final numbers on my triplex that I closed out in South Salt Lake City. I just signed the last lease, so these are the final numbers. So we'll start by just looking at the exterior. You guys, if you've seen any of my other videos, you may have seen it. It is a lot more updated now. No more swamp coolers. The exterior paint is white and black. It looks great for a rental. This is grass area here for dogs. It's the townhouse style, so there's only one shared wall, and it rents well. There's parking in the back. I love the layout of this. It's brick exterior, which is a lot easier to maintain. Anyways, so let's dive into it. To begin, whenever I buy a property, the first thing that I do is I create its own LLC, right? I want to have asset protection, so I create a new LLC for the property, and then I create a Google Drive. And in that Google Drive, I will put the formation documents, because whether I refinance or I need to get another loan, it's nice to have these organized in one place. So I have the formation documents, I have the Rep C, the closing documents, the leases for unit 1, 2, and 3, receipts for tax purposes. And then because I remodeled unit 2 and unit 3, or unit 2 is already remodeled, I used those photos for lease purposes, and I want to keep it all organized. So now the main purpose of today's video is we're going through the numbers, right? We want to know how it ended up. And so these are what these two files here are. This is my budget for unit 3 rehab and some items that are more general, which we'll get into, and then the overall numbers. So let's just show you some of the pictures, right? So it's remodeled. This is what unit 2 and unit 3 look like. A pretty basic remodel, but it demands high rents, right? So pretty clean. Some tacky things that I don't love is that the washer and dryer are in the kitchen. So I was scared about that for rental purposes. That's where the dryer is. I almost reconfigured the whole entire thing, but it would have costed a lot more money than I wanted to spend. But at the end of the day, it rented fine. So this is what the exterior looks like right here. The room sizes are pretty big, which also helped in getting them rented out. So let's go over the budget first. When we were first, the purchase price was $700, and then I got a credit for new AC units. And so the AC units, because I wanted the swamp coolers out and they were already replacing the roof, I decided let's get rid of the swamp coolers and get AC units in sooner than later. So I got a $15,000 credit for that. So effectively, and you'll see in the next page, it took my purchase price down to $685, but my down payment also went down from $100,000 to $85,000. So when I throw the simple numbers like $700,000 purchase, $100,000 down payment, that's before some concessions I got. So the total budget, this is my estimate on the side. AC units were $15,000, electrical $4,000. I'm not going to read all of that, but I was estimating it to be around $35,000 all in. At the end of the day, it was $38,728. So not too far off. And honestly, I was happy with this. The reason being, because I did a lot of electrical work that I wasn't expecting. This HVAC, that was just for AC units, the $15,000, but there was a furnace that needed to be replaced, so I added that in there. So like honestly, $20,000, around $20,000 or $25,000 of this was electrical and HVAC. And so to remodel the last unit for $20,000 was pretty good. And now I have like pretty much all new systems. The new roof was just put on, new AC units throughout, and then all of the furnaces are within the last 10 years. So that gives me a lot of peace of mind that I can run this property without stressing about major fixes in the future, right? Like my electrical panels are all brand new. There's nothing major that I need to stress about, which is key in my definition of what a good deal is, because just because it has good numbers today, if I have to fix a ton of things in the future, it just adds a lot more stress and less peace of mind. So super happy with how this deal played out. Over budget a little bit, but in reality, I felt like I was really under budget because I was able to do a lot more things for a similar cost. Okay, so now let's look at the final numbers. Purchase price $685, like I said. Down payment $85,000 because of that AC credit. The note balance was $600,000. Interest rate 4.5%. Interest only. Now I'll stop right there. Interest only is what I prefer specifically. There's a lot more cash flow on interest only, and if I'm in an appreciating market, if I can get more cash flow, then I will definitely choose that route. The caveat with interest only, as you can assume, you're not paying down any principal. So because of the appreciation, I think it's going to cover my butt when it comes time to refinance. That's a risk I'm taking, and I understand that completely. So that leaves my mortgage balance to $2,250. Now, here's what the rents look like. Unit number 1, they were amazing tenants. They stayed in there. I actually doubled their rent, which is terrible, but I gave them plenty of time to decide if they wanted to stay or not. They decided they wanted to stay because for what they were living in, it was hard to find another place. So they still are paying $1,250. The remodeled unit 2 that was already remodeled is $1,495. The third unit is $1,450. Now I'm collecting utilities on all of these, and I overestimated on utilities because I don't want to be under. And so for the first few months, I've been tracking it on the unit 2 or unit 1, unit 2, and I think I'll have a net gain a little bit on the utilities, and that's also to manage the exterior. And so I think I'm going to gain like 95. So all in, it's like 42.90. That's what my income section looks like, is $42.90. Ideally, it'll be rent $41.95 and then net gain utilities $95 here. But this is a simple calculator just meant for myself. Now for the expense side, mortgage, like I said, $22.50. Maintenance, capex, vacant. This is not vacancy. I have its own section for that. I put it at 10% for $429. The reason I put it so low at 10% is because I've already fixed everything, right? Like there's not going to be anything major. The maintenance in and of itself has been 0 for the past 4 months. That's not likely to continue, right? But all the major systems are currently up to date. So I'm just gonna use this to stack the reserves in case things happen in the future. Property tax is $291 currently. Insurance is $113 a month. And then I put a vacancy section in here for $129. So all in with my expenses, including the mortgage, it's $3,212. So this is where I figure out my cash on cash metric. I put 85 down, 38,000 on the rehab, and then that leaves my conservative cash flow, assuming all these expenses that are going into reserves, right around 1,100 a month, leaving it at a 10.46% cash on cash return. For me and my standards in an ever growing area of Utah, this is excellent. If I could find these deals every day, I would try and buy them. I would be able to raise a ton of money. And I can guarantee if I were to sell this or wholesale this deal, I could have made 50 grand on an assignment fee. So happy that this one's in my portfolio. I got to make sure I watch the 5-year balloon. One of the cool parts too that I didn't bring up is that in my contract, if the seller is still alive, I can extend 2 more years. So it can be a 7-year balloon, and it would go up to a 6% interest only payment though. So the goal is to refinance within 5 years and then hold this in my portfolio for long term. So super good property that I'm excited is finally stabilized, and there's a lot of peace of mind that comes with that. I'm hopefully going to find more of these properties, and I'll be documenting them as I go. They're not always this good, so that's why I encourage you to subscribe. I just talked about a flip that I did that I lost money on, so it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but I'm here to document the journey in a very, very genuine way, right? The pros and the cons. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, and hopefully I'll see you on the channel. Make sure you comment the questions down below, and I'll be sure to answer them in a quick time frame. So I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next video.